Parents with children 6 and under, $3,600 per child for a year, and $3,000 per child age 7 through 17, $500 for each child 17 and 18, or full-time college students 19 to 24. Key here, 24. Direct monthly payments instead of getting a lump sum at tax time. Some back-of-the-envelope math, a family with 2 parents, 2 kids making, say, $96,000 a year, added up, that's $1,400 stimulus checks 4 times, $3,000 for each child under 18. That's $11,600 for that family. Another example, a single mother with 1 child. A stimulus check and the child tax credit together equal $5,800. And there's a more generous earned income tax credit. So much of this legislation is geared toward low-income Americans. The Tax Policy Center says a low-income household with children will get an average tax cut of nearly $7,700, raising their after-tax income by more than 35%. This law is sprawling. There are tax breaks for child care and dependent seniors or an incapacitated spouse, subsidies for health care premiums, money for agriculture, including $5 billion for disadvantaged farmers, a quarter of whom are black. There's housing aid, incentives for paid sick leave, plussed-up food stamp benefits through September, money for vaccine distribution and for schools, and an extra $300 a week in jobless benefits through the fall. And the first $10,200 is tax-free for eligible households.
It's huge. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this go to people who don't have lobbyists. That's the whole thing. You know, we're never at the table. We're just not at the table. Apparently, Joe Biden was at the table pretending to be us for a brief moment. This is spectacular. This is unbelievable. And of course, not one Republican voted for it because there was no donor involved. There was no lobbyist involved. It wasn't anything to do with cutting a tax for a corporate American. It wasn't anything to do with cutting a tax for a donor class person. It wasn't anything to do with, a Big Oil or the Koch brothers or Americans for Prosperity, also the Koch brothers, or ALEC, also the Koch brothers. It had nothing to do with anything that they're loyal to. And it certainly isn't the children that they give a damn about. This bill right here, it's now a law. Well, it will be a law on Friday when Biden signs it, and of course he will, is the first time I have ever seen a bill with this much care for the situation that Americans find themselves in, most of us through no fault of our own. I mean, get ready to be happy, I'm telling you. So there's lots and lots of stuff in here. There's lots of stuff. There is tens of billions of dollars to facilitate the vaccine rollout. Okay, there's $8.75 billion to federal, state, local, territorial, and tribal public health agencies so that they can distribute, administer, and track vaccinations. Okay, there's also money to make sure that the vaccinations reach underserved communities or out-of-the-way communities, people who live up runs and hollers, There's $20 billion for federal biomedical research to continue with vaccine research and therapeutics for the next pandemic, okay? There's $3 billion for a strategic national stockpile of vaccines. There's $25 billion for testing and contact tracing and reimbursing hospitals for lost revenue related to the pandemic. So guess what? We don't have to we don't have to pay for it. We don't have to pay for it. Because, if hospitals had a $25 billion shortfall, you could just best believe that you'd be paying for it. It'd be spread out across everybody's procedure, but you'd be paying for it. Well, now we don't have to. So the child tax credit, okay, that used to be $2,000. Now it's $3,600. That's a plus of $1,600 for kids under 6. Parents up to from 6 to 17, theirs goes to $3,000. That's a plus up too. Periodic payments, like I'm saying, you're going to get these monthly checks. Federal workers. Now, here's the thing. We couldn't do a private business in this bill. It wouldn't have made it through reconciliation. But for federal employees, including postal workers, there's paid sick leave in this bill. There's 600 hours of emergency and paid leave related to COVID-19. Also, there's money in here for the restaurant industry, bars that got decimated in COVID. There is $25 billion in relief that is targeted at small and mid-sized restaurants. The money is doled out in grants, so you don't need to repay it if you use it for general operating expenses, including payroll, paying your rent, or providing PPE to your employees. It's a grant. You don't have to pay it back. $25 billion. The rapid transit projects, they did not make it through this bill. They removed that. They did student loan forgiveness. Okay, check this out. So if you got your student loan forgiven because, let's say, you went to a school that promised you gainful employment at the end of your $36,000 of spending, and at the end you realized that there was nothing you could do with this degree, and the government agreed with you that that was a bogus thing, and they forgave your student loan. Okay, so before this bill, the forgiveness of the student loan counted as income for you, as if you made money somehow, and they were going to tax you as if the forgiven amount of the loan was income to you. You just sit there and go, God, they think of every way to tax us that they can. Well, in this particular bill, which will be a law, the Democrats put in a provision that said that if you got a student loan, went to school, the degree was worth absolutely nothing, it was forgiven, you don't have to pay taxes on that amount anymore. That is going to save thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to people who, you know, were going to get taxed on this forgiven student loan after they put the time and effort into it. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. There's $130 billion in funds for K through 12 schools. The money goes for reducing class sizes, to accommodate social distancing, obviously, for PPE, to redo the HVAC systems, the ventilation systems, hiring more janitors, okay? And there's $350 billion in state and local relief, because states and localities got killed when businesses closed and there was no sales tax being paid in the community. So they were going to cut services like, guess what? Police. Looks like the Republicans were going to defund the police, just like they don't love the children. It's all very shocking when you look at who prioritizes what. Yeah, and so no cuts to services, no tax increases. This is what Republicans call blue state bailouts, but it's the red states who are the takers, as we all know. Yeah, it's great. Don't have time to listen to the live show?